So you want to use Halloween Edward to beat the new Halloween maps on Dragalia Lost. Well, he's light, he has a katana, so basically, we've got it all in the bag. Slap on a weapon, make him a chicken or a scary vampire dolphin, and we're off. This pumpkin has nothing on us.
What? No. Okay. How did it even hit me? What?
Hello, my name is Patrick, and today I'm reviewing Halloween Edward, the blood-sucking butler for Dragalia Lost. He's a 3-star unit and part of the Halloween banner, so if you decided not to pay any money for the game, or hate using lances, or hate thighs, well, you chose the right butler. He's your run-of-the-mill blade unit, but he is light, which makes him unique as the only light-based blade unit in the game. And going into the Halloween event, he is absolutely perfect for the kinds of quests that this event has. He's strong against dark, fairly bulky for his weapon type, and you'll be able to take advantage of both the sweet retreat and the light altars in your castle. So we're going to take a look at his max stats for each level cap, since at maximum level, that's where the biggest differences are going to be seen. So, as we can see here, capped out at level 60, his HP stat is 344 and his strength is 319. This is also implying that you unlock all of his mana circle nodes, but honestly, the cost for promoting him to 4-star isn't too much. 25 Eld Water isn't too hard to come by, and I highly recommend you do so. And if you pursue getting him to level 70 and above, use him. Promoting Edward at any level also grants you an additional 9 HP and 6 strength, which isn't a bad trade-off in the slightest. At 70 though, his HP pool starts to get a bit deeper and you can most likely avoid this.
What a dreadful Halloween.
Since now you have a bit more bulk and hopefully a little bit more experience and skill with his movement. But the real question here is, do you take him to 5-star? Now that's a serious question, because honestly, he isn't incredible.
But I have no weaknesses.
As a 3-star base unit, he's slightly more bulky than his 3-star counterparts, since at 670 HP, he has more than everybody except for Melody, who's at 702, but he isn't anywhere close to as bulky as the 4-star Windblade unit Musashi, who has a staggering 719 base HP. On top of that, Edward has less strength than any of the other blade units of his tier except for Melody, at a paltry 465. Though the difference of 1 to 4 strength can be mitigated, it's still something to keep in mind. If you're looking at him from a different angle, even 4-star blade units have more damage potential. Musashi has a strength of 503, and the free unit from the Freganoth event, Celeria, has 476. Quick shout out to Makoto, the 5-star Fireblade unit, who has a max HP of 740 and a max strength of 520. Okay, so those are Edward's stats, so I think it's time to look at his functionality in combat. As a blade unit, his combat style is exactly as you would expect it. His 5-hit combo is simple. His 4-strike is a dash-throw attack, and you can cancel any of your attacks with the 4-strike to change up and maneuver through enemies, and his special attacks, on the other hand, are the ones that really have problems. Vampire Slash, his first special move, makes a 3-strike attack in front of him, and he backs up with his last strike. Though a good idea in principle, this step back will often place you in a position that may have been good when you hit the button, but is now right in an enemy's target indicator. Normally, using specials for their invincibility frames is awesome, but the issue that you'll run into more often than not with Vampire Slash is that it sucks. Recovery frames, where he puts the blade back into the sheath, leave you hanging there for an awkward amount of time as you're just sliding your finger praying to anyone that you'll get out of the way of the attack. This isn't an issue with characters such as Celerio, the free unit, who after using her slash has an additional splash of water to clear the space around her, nor Musashi, who can just launch his from across the planet and enjoy life. His second special, Nightmare Waltz, sucks too, but this one sucks HP. I think it's silly that the move that doesn't have the name Vampire attached to it has a lifesteal effect, but whatever. Nightmare Waltz is a move that attacks in an area in a larger circle around you and deals over 7 times normal basic attack damage to enemies. Feeling ambushed? Spin! Want to heal up a bit because you're getting hit by rocks that shouldn't hit you? Spin! Just like spinning. Spin! It's honestly a pretty good move, and unlike Vampire Slash, it doesn't leave you hanging for too long after the move is finished. It's pretty great. It does what it needs to, and it heals for up to 2% of the damage dealt back to you. If this move were his first special and were off cooldown often because of that, I genuinely think Edward would be an incredible pick, even when compared to the 4-star blade units, because sustainability in this game is so incredibly valuable. His co-ability is Strength, which all blade units have. But since he's a 3-star base unit, you can only upgrade his co-ability to 5% strength, and you can only upgrade this ability at node 5 of his mana circle, which requires a ton of rare items and honestly is only going to be slightly better than the 4-star strength bonus, which is implying that the 4-star units aren't also maxed out. So if you like wasting the Eldwater for this minuscule boost, be my guest. Oh, and also 23 of his max HP and 19 of his maximum strength are tied to this ability being maxed out, so have fun with that. His abilities aren't too impressive either. Full HP equals strength is the first ability, and let's be realistic here, you're gonna get hit at some point or another. I will concede that it is a pretty high percentage of strength, at 8% base and 10% maxed, since the only other Blade character that gets a skill similar to this is Celeria at 8%, and doesn't have the option of leveling up that skill. But the issue again is that it only works at 100% HP. This isn't a get good moment because not every move has a telegraph, and if you get hit by an attack, well, you better suck it up, sister, because now each hit is doing 8% less damage, or around 40 less damage a hit. Curse res is okay. Shadow monsters have curse, and it's honestly a pretty annoying debuff since it limits your ability to iframe attacks and whatnot. And as a 3-star unit, most secondary and tertiary abilities are limited to defensive options anyway. I mean, you can be mad about this, but I think you're expecting too much from a 3-star unit. One thing I will mention is that despite his stats being pretty low since he's a 3-star unit, they're slightly buoyed by the fact that this Halloween event that's currently out gives a new light-attuned building, the Sweet Retreat. This building is relatively easy to build and can be leveled up to 15 with relative ease, even without receiving a ton of Snack-a-Lantern's permission. This building maxes out at level 30 with an 8.5% buff to HP and a 7% buff to strength. But if you can only make it to level 15, it still gives a 4.5% buff to HP and a 3.5% to strength. Because this building stacks with light altars, you can easily get to above a 5% bonus on each stat with the mixture of both of the buildings at a very low cost. This makes Edward a very valuable unit since you now have the ability to increase his stats by quite a substantial amount, which will place him above most other 3-star Blade units if this is factored into play, since for the most part, at the highest level of play, you'll have all your altars maxed in order to get the most out of each of your units. So now you must be asking, how useful is Edward? And honestly, as a vampire, he sucks. In the context of the Halloween event, incredibly useful, and in the context of normal play, not so much. A light damage mixed with the longish range, plus up to 150% bonus damage from the retreat, means that you'll be stacking bonuses left and right, slicing through the shadow baddies from the Halloween event, but outside of that scenario, he's just an okay unit. He isn't going to be standout or exceptional, and without the Sweet Retreat, he's honestly not any better than any of the other 3-star Blade units out there. Since he's a light unit though, he has neutral damage to all colors on the spectrum except Shadow, which he has a bonus against, so slotting him into a team that needs another body isn't a bad option. His maximum might from base is the lowest though of all the 3-star Blade units, so keep that in mind if you're trying to get into anything with a might cap. Overall, he isn't a super great unit, and he doesn't compare well when placed against his other 3-star counterparts. He isn't a must-hope for the free-to-play players, nor is he a big asset for those who purchase Diamantium. He's just a run-of-the-mill unit, bringing just enough to the table. You can slot him in anywhere, which is a plus, and he is admittedly good for Halloween. If you want a vampire on your team, go for LSM. But if you just need a Blade unit or a light unit, Edward will do just fine. The only thing that would make Edward better is if I would stop getting tossed around by all of these enemies. Thanks for watching the video to the end. As always, like, share, and subscribe. And in the comments, write any questions that you have for me, or even any recommended builds for him. I tried to make this so that it'd be useful to both free-to-play players and those who put money into the game, so tell me how you liked it, or even if you'll be slotting the Vampire Butler into your team anytime soon. Also, feel free to follow me on these social media platforms. Anyway, this is Patrick, signing off.